All right, everyone, buckle up, because today we're going deep into the world of AI, like way deep.
Deeper than we've ever gone before.
Exactly. We've talked before about artificial intelligence, how it works, all that. But this time...
This is different.
This is different. We're talking about a whole new approach.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of Qubic mining?
I have, yeah. I've been keeping tabs on that.
Okay, so basically we found this developer who's working on this crazy idea. Imagine an AI that's less like a computer program and more like, I don't know, a living, breathing brain.
It's fascinating, right? The way they're approaching this is completely different from anything I've seen before.
Right. And that's what we're going to try to unpack today. So at the heart of it all is this thing called a cubic neuron. It sounds kind of like, Star Trek-y.
It does. But it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. Think of a regular neuron like in your brain. It's complex, right? Tons of signals going in and out.
Way too complicated.
Right. But a cubic neuron, it's stripped down to the bare essentials. Like instead of all those complex signals, it only uses 3 values. -1, 0, and 1.
Okay, so like a light switch, on, off, and maybe a dimmer in between.
Exactly. It's like a switch with 3 positions. Each cubic neuron has a bunch of inputs and outputs. And here's the cool part. The signals going through these neurons are delayed.
Delayed, like they take a little detour.
Kind of. It's like each signal has a different travel time. And by tweaking those delays, you can actually make the neuron do calculation.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying that just by changing when the signal arrives, you can make it add, subtract, or whatever?
You got it. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? Like, how can something so simple actually do math? But that's the beauty of it. The timing of those signals is everything.
So it's not about the signal itself, but when it gets there? That's so weird.
Right. And by connecting a bunch of these cubic neurons together, you can create a network that can do some seriously complex stuff.
Okay, so then that brings us to, what was it called? Universal networks.
Yes. Universal networks.
The developer, they were really emphasizing this idea of universal networks.
And for good reason. They're totally different from the way most AI is built today.
So how are they different? What makes them so special?
Okay, so imagine current AI, like the kind we use in our phones and stuff. It's like a train. It follows a set path. It can only go where the tracks are laid.
Okay, I'm following.
But a universal network, it's like a helicopter. It can go anywhere, do anything. That's because every single neuron in a universal network is connected to every other neuron.
Whoa. Everything connected to everything else. That sounds like a recipe for chaos.
It could be, but it also means incredible flexibility. Like, it's not limited by any predefined pathways.
So it's like it can constantly rewire itself on the fly.
Exactly. It can adapt, learn, evolve in ways we can't even imagine. Because it's not stuck in a rut, it can explore any possible solution.
So, this all sounds amazing. Why aren't we already using these universal networks everywhere?
Because they're incredibly difficult to train. It's like, imagine trying to herd 1,000 cats, but these cats are made of electricity and they're all moving at the speed of light.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right. But there's this company, Aigarth, that's tackling this challenge head on.
They're the ones behind Qubic mining.
Yeah, and they're doing some truly groundbreaking work, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI. But it's not easy, that's for sure.
Okay, so this next part is where things get really, really trippy. This developer is saying, we need to start thinking about these networks in 4 dimensions.
4 dimensions.
Yeah. And time, like actual time, is the 4th dimension.
Whoa, okay. I'm listening.
So what they're saying is, well, remember how we were talking about those 3 values in the cubic neuron? -1, 0, and 1.
The light switch thing.
Right, the light switch. So they're saying that those changing values, it's like opening and closing circuits, just like a transistor in a computer.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going.
But here's the kicker. Because of time, because everything is happening in real time, the entire network is constantly rewiring itself as it processes information. It's like it's never the same network twice.
It's like a living thing, constantly changing, adapting. Wow.
Wild, right? It's like it's learning and evolving at the same time. And that's what makes it so different from traditional AI.
Yeah.
Which is, kind of static. Once it's programmed, it's pretty much set in stone.
Right. This is fluid, dynamic. It's almost like a biological brain.
And to really illustrate this point, the developer brought up an interesting example. Pigeons. Pigeons. Those birds that are always hanging out in parks and stuff.
Yeah. I know pigeons.
Okay, so pigeons are actually really good at multitasking. Like they can fly, they can find food, avoid predators, all at the same time.
Yeah, they're pretty impressive when you think about it.
Right. And the developer thinks this is because their brains are incredibly dynamic.
Yeah.
Like they're constantly adapting to the situation.
Yeah. So it's not just about how many neurons they have, but how their brains are wired.
Exactly. It's about how the signals flow, how the connections change over time.
And that's what makes this whole Qubic neuron thing so exciting. It's not just about building bigger, faster computers. It's about understanding how intelligence actually works.
Yeah, it's like a whole new way of thinking about AI.
It really is.
Okay, so this all sounds super cool, but it also raises a pretty big question. How do you teach a network that's constantly changing? It's like, how do you even program something that's always evolving?
Right, that's the million-dollar question.
Well, it seems like Aigarth might have an answer.
They do, and it's actually pretty ingenious. Since traditional math kind of breaks down when you're dealing with a system this complex, Aigarth is using evolutionary algorithms to train their networks.
Evolutionary algorithms, so like survival of the fittest for AI.
Exactly. They create a bunch of different networks, all with slightly different configurations.
Okay.
And then they test them out, see which ones perform the best. And then they take the best ones and use them to create a new generation of networks.
So they're basically breeding AI.
You could say that. And each generation gets a little bit smarter, a little bit more adaptable.
That's incredible. It's like mimicking the way nature itself learns.
Right. And it seems to be working. They're making some real progress with these Qubic neurons.
So if intelligence isn't just about, the size of our brains or the number of neurons we have, but how information flows and changes over time, I mean, that's kind of a game changer, isn't it? It makes you wonder, what are the limits of AI?
Yeah.
What else is possible if we start thinking about it in this new way? And that's what I want you to think about today. What if we could apply these same principles to our own brains? Could we train ourselves to be more dynamic, more adaptable? What if we could unlock hidden potential just by changing the way we process information? It's a pretty mind-blowing thought, and I think it's worth exploring. So go out there, do some research, and let me know what you discover.
It's an exciting time to be alive, that's for sure.
It really is. And with that, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.